It's officially summer season and I went to the most extensive fashion library, Pinterest, to find the inspirations for outfit. I found some of the very common features that the so-called summer fits have, and those are lightweight, breathable, flowy. And I'm going to use these features to make the perfect summer outfit. Before we go into it, I want to add one more feature to this list, just as my personal preference, to be modest. Now let's make that perfect summer outfit. And I found the most lightweight material crepe, so lightweight, check. I ironed the fabric, laid it on the floor, and pinned it. I used an oversized t-shirt of mine as a pattern because we want it to be breathable, so we cannot make it like skin tight, which is going to be uncomfortable in the summer because it's all going to be very sweaty and everything. You want the air to flow, that is why oversized. After marking the measurements, I started cutting the fabric, and for the length, I made it to be the maxi length. So modest, check. I didn't want my top to be very basic, so I chose a very interesting asymmetric cut that you can see here in Pinterest as inspiration, and I drew the curves on my fabric. After drawing all of the curves, I started cutting the fabric, but I had to be sure because there was back pattern as well along the front, so I had to cut off the front part, which is the upper layer. After cutting it out, I started sewing. I used the basic seam here. I sewed the shoulders and then ironed it because all of the videos that I've seen about sewing, they mention here to iron all of the seams that you stitch. I did that for the entire top, like the sides. I stitched the sides and then went on to iron the seams. First the inside of the seams and then the outside. That's when it hit me. When they say the process of making clothes is mostly ironing, than sewing is so true. Now I get it because look at that seam after I iron it. It looks so perfect. So perfect, it gives off this professional look. Since I was in the path to make everything better about the clothes that I make, I wanted to learn a new trick for this one. So I thought I'll use bias tape. Instead of just rolled hem around the neck, I'm gonna use the bias tape. So I followed a YouTube tutorial on how to make the bias tape and followed all of the instructions. And at first it looked intimidating because you have to cut the perfect square and then sew it and then mark all of this after that, like, at 45 degrees and make a parallelogram. I loved math, but geometry was not my strong suit. I struggled with the shapes here a lot. After somehow marking all of this, you're supposed to do this, and then you're supposed to turn the fabric around and make them into have this one shift, and then sew it again, and then cut the fabric. To have the continuous bias tape, you need to cut it in the spiral form. So I did not go through with the entire spiral. I stopped it when I knew that I had enough for the neck. I first sewed the bias tape to the right side. I double folded it and sewed it to the wrong side of the fabric. The more and more I learn all of these new tricks of sewing, which I used to think were a bit stretched, we can do this way, why are we increasing our task by doing all of that? But when I did all of those extra things that people suggested, I'm realizing how perfect and important they are for sewing. I am not so comfortable with sleeves because they are very tricky to do. Like, they never fit. Like, I've tried so many times, but they're like every single time I get stuck in sleeves. Stick around until the end to find out if I tackle the challenge or the challenge tackles me. We've done almost everything except the flowy one. So what is a better way to give the flowy effect other than having the rolled hem to the edges? I think a rolled hem is just so perfect for any outfits that you want to be lightweight and flowy. So I use that, and I would say I'm getting really comfortable with making the rolled hems. With that presser foot, it's just so easy. You just turn it and give it in, and it does all of the work. Amazing. I love this technology. That's it, and I completed making the summer outfit. Now before we get to the results, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel because it helps a lot in motivating me to tackle the challenges like sleeves. Look at that fit. Look at that outfit. It is so good. I loved it. I loved the curve, the cut which is there in the front. It is just so iconic. And as for the challenge between me and the sleeves, I think it was a tie because I struggled, but I got it done. Anyway, that's it for now. Goodbye. If you liked the outfit, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye.